All right. Welcome, Shauna.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It is going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So we've just had a little bit of time to kind of talk for a little bit, and I'm really excited to hear about a lot of things you have to say about this. But I wanted to start with like where you grew up, how that was, what you did as a kid and high school, all that, sports, whatever it is that you did, whatever makes you you. So,
Well, thank you for inviting me here.
You bet.
And for giving me an opportunity to visit. I'll just try to do a really summarized. I was born and raised in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So my father worked for Nellis Air Force Base. He served in the Air Force. And so we lived in a very humble area of the town. I'm a 70s baby, so,
Sweet. Good time.
free roaming.
Yeah. Gen X.
Gen X.
I identify as Gen X, so I completely get it.
Gen X we are. I am that. And I was drinking out of the water hose. So,
Yeah.
it was hot and you ran around barefoot. No, I had a great childhood. My dad was big into softball.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, he did other sports too, but he really loved softball. And so we were raised on ball fields. He would take all of his kids and we would just hang out on softball
How
fields.
big's your family? Like, is there enough for a team?
Well, there's 8 children.
8 children. Okay, so yeah, you could get a team.
Yeah,
Pretty
we'd be a
close,
couple
yeah.
short,
Yeah.
but yeah. Not all of us would play though, but
Sure.
I did, and a couple of others did. But we played softball as we got older. But yeah, we were raised on. He actually would. It was every weekend almost we played and hung out at softball fields. So
Awesome.
great memories of hanging out with softball.
So back then, was softball still big? Like, did you have to travel to Mesquite and St. George and stuff, or was it all in Vegas?
Las Vegas. We were just
Okay,
right there.
okay.
We had, and actually, the LDS Church, the Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints, had a ball team.
Oh,
We had our own softball team also, if you wanted to play on that. So the youth could do it as part of their youth night
yeah,
youth
yeah.
activity.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to be going way back on that. So anyway, you had city and you had, and you had the, different church leagues.
Yeah,
So, but we would do all-nighters.
right.
So,
the tournaments.
Yeah, we'd
Yep.
hit the tournaments. My dad would be at those. We'd all bring our sleeping bags and just hang out.
Awesome.
So it was a good life. I'm the oldest of the 8
okay.
kids, so I had a lot of responsibility. I was one that I had a job from as long as I can remember. I went from being babysitting to owning a paper route, and I took on extra paper routes because my brothers sometimes didn't do what they're supposed to. So we did, surprise, brothers. But so I had paper routes, and then I went from there after I did the paper routes when I was old enough to ride my bike to a print shop. And I worked in a print shop. I bound books all day long, printed and bound books.
Oh, that's like a long forgotten thing, isn't it? Like, when's the last time you bought a
Big
book?
old print. Yeah, it was crazy. The collator alone was just like
Right.
stacks and stacks of rows of, where it would collate these books.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
did that. Did my stint working at Kmart.
Oh,
So that's
blue light
Kmart.
special.
Blue light special. I can do it all day long. I actually got to help a little bit, sometimes with security. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it was interesting.
They didn't call you
And-
loss prevention back then?
Yes, it was loss prevention.
Oh,
I know
okay.
it wasn't loss prevention. It was security.
It was
security. It was go get them. They're going to steal. I can even remember the code that we'd have to say across the
Oh, the
thing.
mic.
Yeah, the mic, letting everyone know that there was somebody heading out.
Red light special?
That was a good one. Yeah. So anyway, and then once I did that all through high school, I was actually able to, in high school, 2 of the craziest fun things I ever did was, one, I was a part of a club that went back to Washington, D.C. So we were a government. We did government. It's called Close Up.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of that or not, but it was called the Close Up program. And we had the opportunity to go back and tour DC. And it was back in the days when you could actually go into the White House. So
Oh, that's cool.
we were given privileges to go in and into the White House, and we got to tour. I think my dad has always been adamant about country and integrity,
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff. And
Well, if he was
so
in the Air Force, you get some
he's
of that
kind of,
military
yeah,
stuff, but
he's
you know,
he's about it. And so maybe that's where my love started for, just being interested and being a part in some way of making good things, trying to help make good things happen.
yeah.
But I had a really great time there. And then, believe it or not, I was in a band, a school rock band. And we performed all over in the casinos, different places like
Oh,
that.
sweet.
We earned money to go on a fundraiser, a trip we were invited to perform at Expo 86 in Canada.
Wow.
So I was the electric pianist. And so I was the electric piano. And we earned enough money to go back and perform in Expo 86.
Awesome.
So fun. So fun. So those are like my two highlights in school, as far as
Sure.
that. And I just played softball, on the church league.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have a time for a lot because I was the oldest.
Right. Well, and everything you've said, it's not like anything you've said is like freeing of time. You've got to practice songs, you've got to go to work, you've got to take care of kids, you got to play games. Like you're really cutting down the amount of time you have to spend on everything extra.
Wasn't a lot. I didn't have time to get in trouble. That's a good thing, right? My trouble
that's
was,
the good thing.
I could have been caught out on Lake Mead water skiing instead of sitting in class sometimes. But,
Yeah. Hey, sometimes, So
So I do love water. I love to water ski.
awesome.
That's so snowy.
You don't get to do that in Sanpete, though. There is zero water here.
The kids are good snowboarders, though.
Oh, good. Okay.
So anyway, I think that's just a summary of my life. I was born and raised there. Once I got done with high school, I started work for an eye doctor, and I worked for him until I met my husband and we got married, and he transplanted me to Utah.
Oh. So you met him in Vegas?
We met him in Vegas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But his family's from here, right?
From Delta.
Delta. Okay,
He's a
but
Delta
from
boy.
Utah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why you guys came back?
He was actually in school. So he had been working on a Lawrence Livermore, I can't remember what it's called, Lawrence Livermore Labs, I think is what he was doing a program with the college.
Okay.
So he's a machinist by trade. So a very good machinist. And he had won the scholarship, and that scholarship provided him an opportunity to work 3 months at Lawrence Livermore. He had come back for 3 months, and he'd go back down for 3 months. And I met him on the
Cool.
3-month stint.
Did you meet him in the band because you were in a band?
I was actually late to church. Surprise, surprise.
Oh.
I know, nothing fun. Showed up
That's all
late.
right.
I wasn't even going to do it if I was going to go that day. Showed up late. He offered me his chair. So if you know Kirk, he's a gentleman.
Yeah. Yep.
That's never changed. He's a gentleman. So
Good.
there was nowhere to sit, and he offered me his chair, and then we just kind of visited. And that's a whole
Great.
other story for another day.
Yeah,
that
that's
could
fine.
be that's an entertaining story all by itself. as it
Awesome.
goes.
So what brought you to Fairview? Because you've lived in Fairview since you've been in Utah.
No.
No? Okay.
So we've been, when he first transplanted me out here to Utah, we actually lived in Orem.
Okay.
So, and it was a very short stint in Orem. He was finishing school at it's UVU now. It used to be Utah Valley Tech School or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was finishing that with his trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also had a job there in Orem where he built potato cutters.
Oh.
And so we moved a little closer to that job in Orem. We actually lived for a short time, like a little over a year, in Springville. Loved it.
Okay.
Loved it in Springville.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Springville is where we ended up traveling. And we came out here. Kirk's aunt and uncle lived here.
Mm-hmm.
And we came out here for a family funeral. And as we were driving around, Kirk's just like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "What do you think?" Like, next thing I know, he had visited with a gentleman here. And I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants the recognition, but he He's a good man, and he had a home that he was planning on kind of, I think, keeping, but he ended up going ahead and saying, "Hey, I'll sell it to you guys," and we got a great price. And so we've been here since 92,
Okay.
I think. 93, 92, 93. 93.
Either way,
Chuck
a
was
long
born in
time.
90. It was a long time.
Okay. And then you have kids? How
6
many?
of them.
6 kids? Okay.
Yes.
I only know boys.
There's one. We
One
have
girl.
one girl.
Oh, that's right. I think I did know you had one girl.
We do.
Okay.
She's so fun.
Awesome.
She can run that show. But yeah, she's actually finishing up PA school right now.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
So I do. I have 5 boys, 1 girl. They've all been raised here in Fairview. That's
Yeah,
really
grew
where
up here in
they
town.
grew up here.
That's what I remember. Is that I think I'm older than most of them. Yeah, I think I'm older than all of them. But I remember them being around, you know. So, yeah, I remember you guys being as like a fixture of Fairview. You were here before me. So, and I've been here like 20 years, so that's saying something.
We've been here for a long time. And it's such a blessing.
Yeah, it's a great area.
It is. This town is magical. It really is.
Yeah.
There's something to this town that just attracts goodness. And I want to see that continue. But
yeah, it'd be great to keep it. I mean, I grew up in Chester mostly, but I also lived in Moroni and Mount Pleasant. And so I've kind of hit the North St. Pete spectrum.
Yes,
I had a lot of family in Spring City. So, you know, I've seen a lot, but Fairview is the place where I'm like, I'm never moving from Fairview. You know, if I might move outside of town further. I'm already out of town, but a little further out of town maybe. But it's always going to be centralized around Fairview. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's a good place. It's been an amazing place to raise a family. And
so what do you do professionally?
So I am communications and community affairs for a large healthcare organization.
Oh, okay, great. How do you like doing that?
I love it.
Yeah. You get to spend time out with people and
I do. That's one thing that's nice is I get to go out and visit and, you know, build relationships. I think, as you know, relationships are huge. And building strong relationships is a big deal, no matter, you know,
it's healthy
where we're at.
That's the thing is like it's healthy for us as humans.
Yeah, it's game changing. So, you know, and not just building, not the unhealthy. You know, there's unhealthy ones you can do, but it's a good thing to build relationships, and we've got some great people here, all throughout our county. We really do. But I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to network, to be able to just visit, hear about people, listen to them. You know, see. It's amazing what you find when you just listen. Yeah, it is. It's amazing what you can learn.
And so you, like with that, you're like organizing community events?
I do that too.
Okay.
Yep, that's part of it. I have a few community events that we do that we help organize.
But it's all based off of healthcare. Like that's your whole industry that you work in.
Yes.
The majority of the time. Okay.
Yes, yes. And relationships, you know.
Yeah.
It's healthcare, and there's a lot that goes into healthcare. There's a lot of different pockets.
Oh, there is. And it's all interconnected, and, you know, mental health, physical health, diets, exercise, like everything just kind of meshes together somehow and creates us as people, you know? So, yeah, it's great. And so now you're running for city council in Fairview.
I am.
And you've made it through the primaries.
Yes.
So you're officially on the ballot.
Thank you to all those voters that voted for me.
Yeah.
That meant a lot.
Yeah. So what was it that got you where you wanted to get into politics? I know you had some political history.
I do.
As a high schooler, and you probably stuck with it throughout to some extent. But
well, I kind of yes and no. I mean, when I was a mom, I mean that was like as a mother, like of young children, of 6 kids. That's really where all my focus went, right? That's sure. Yeah. I mean, other than I was a business owner for a time too here, so I owned a deli and a sandwich shop, but ice cream shop, but and a bakery at one time. But so I've been a business owner here, but when you do that, that's really ends up being your focus is, you know, staying on top of getting the kids to football games and to wrestling matches. And
I mean, we had 3 kids, and it's a never-ending barrage of games and events and school and homework and stuff. So I can't imagine
it
6.
does not go away.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. It's a good moment in time. I loved it. I love that part of my life. But as far as letting politics really weigh in there, you're in a different world at that time, right?
Yeah.
You're just hyper focused on, or at least I was, hyper focused on my kids and making sure that they're doing things, and that, my dad was, he was a mayor here for a time. So, I supported him and that from my stance as a mother and stuff, and as a community member. But, it really I started getting more involved again. I was late, one of those late bloomers to school or whatever. I did not go back and do my education until I was in my 40s.
Oh.
So I earned my bachelor's in my 40s, and that's the story all by itself of what that took to accomplish. And then went into my master's in my 50s. So.
And that was in communications?
And so, so
Awesome.
my bachelor's is in communications with public relations as the emphasis. And then my master's is an MBA. So it's business administration.
Sweet.
So, the politics came in when I finally got a chance to kind of take a breath and step back and look and say, well, maybe there's some things I didn't like, right? Maybe there were some things going on that I wasn't really crazy about, or maybe I wanted to be able to weigh in a little bit more. And the reality in my mind that came one day when I was sitting and thinking was, I was just like, where can I make the most impact? Like, I'm not going to be able to control what's happening at the federal level. Like,
right.
I'm not of any, that's my voice. It's not going to hit up to President Trump, or any of the other presidents, but, and at the state level, it's still, it's still tough, but at your local level, in my opinion, if I am unhappy, or there's things that I want to change, or there's things that I want to help with, there's things that I want to, then talking about it and doing it are two different things.
Yeah.
And so I started to just kind of get involved. And you know what's crazy? It's kind of like when you do service, right? When you're, there's nothing that I have been that I can think of. Well, let's see. I might have got paid $50 a month for my planning and zoning. Can't remember. There's everything that I have done inside of government, with what we do, they're not paid positions.
Right.
They're volunteer. But you start to truly see people, and you start to love people. And
hopefully, at least. Like, that's what you hope when you to see a politician do
get really
that.
frustrated with.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of like what we were talking about, right? You and I were talking about this a little bit before the thing. Is I was visiting, and I wish I could remember this person's name so I could give them the credit for it. This is not my thoughts, but it was the thoughts of another that was shared with me, which I've not forgotten. And that was that he said, I miss the day when we could sit at a table, and we're at a picnic table or whatever, and you've got a hamburger, I've got a hot dog, the other person, they're vegetarian, they're not going to be eating anything that we have, but we can all sit down and we can still have that picnic, and we can all still get along.
Yeah.
We can maybe not agree with each other's eating habits, and I may not like your hot dog, you may not like my hamburger, and maybe none of us want, maybe somebody else wants the vegetarian,
Right, yeah.
But what does that matter? Because we can all weigh in. We all have strengths and ideas, and we can all visit and talk and have a good time. And he said, I miss the days that we can do that.
Yeah.
I feel like those days are less.
I agree. And I have my ideas on what I think has at least played into that. What do you feel like is like the biggest thing that's contributed to that, like, division?
Sometimes social media. But
that was exactly where I was going.
I say that? I don't know if I said. Should I said that? I guess in my Pollyanna world, I call it sometimes. People are, for the most part, good.
Yeah.
We just get wrapped up. I've done it. We all do it. You get wrapped up and you kind of forget to look at the broader picture. You get stuck in what's going on. And so I don't know. I do sense a little bit more anger in people than it used to. But I feel like we still have it. Like, we can still make it happen.
Yeah, I feel like there's still a way to make this work.
We can make it happen.
Yeah.
And not only can we make it happen, but we can make it happen in a wonderfully huge way. You put together different concepts, and I'm not talking just any political stance either, not Democrats, Republicans, none of that. We put ourselves together in a room, and we're going to like our different things. We're going to have strengths in our different departments. But if we all sit and honestly listen to each other, and we have the conversation, and we ask the words, okay, I don't really agree with what you just said, but explain to me why you think that way.
Yeah.
Why would you?
And then you really listen.
And you actually listen to it. You really do want to hear what made them go that direction. What makes them think like that? And as you sit and visit, it's crazy what kind of crazy good ideas can come out. And sometimes what's sitting there as the proposal ends up being a lot better because we were able to talk.
Yeah.
And we work things out and we look through it and we agree or we disagree. And before you know it, you have this amazing plan that everybody weighed in on.
Yep. And maybe it doesn't make every single person satisfied to the full extent, but it at least is, it's compromise, right? And it's making everyone feel like they were heard.
Yes.
Everyone feels like they got to be a part of it.
Yes.
You know, I mean, how many times have you been to a meeting where there's been a divisive topic and then you go and talk to somebody individually after, and it's so easy to just, if you just catch yourself off guard and go talk to someone, you can hear what they're actually saying and hear what their ideas are and why they think what they're thinking. And all of a sudden you can think, you know, it's really not that different. There's just a few small things. Like if I change my plan just a little bit,
right,
it could satisfy, you know, the majority of what this person is looking to do or doesn't want to have happen, you know.
Right.
But it just goes away.
I've totally been in those situations where you listen to somebody and you're talking to them and you have human nature is we can sometimes just make our own story up, right? We can tell ourselves our own story and it becomes our story, whether that's the story or not. And I have had times like that happen where I had told myself a story of how I thought it was that person thought or what they did. And once I visited with them and I asked them to explain to me, help me understand, and I listened, sometimes I've actually changed my mind. Like my mind's actually went like, I was wrong.
Right.
Like, actually, I get you. So I feel like that can be done in any thing, whether it's your family, whether it's political, whether it's church.
I mean, religious, like every aspect of life. Every aspect. Where you have to deal with other people. You know, I mean, the only time that I feel like this isn't like 100% the rule is like parents to kids. Because there are times where you're a parent and you're like, no, there's no option in this. It's my way. You know, but I mean, outside of that, like even there's still a ton of situations where you're like, well, let's figure it out together. Yeah. You know, but you know, I feel like that's been lost on population.
It's kind of becoming a lost art, but I would like to see some of it come back. And I think there's enough of us. If we do that, we can. Yeah. At least in our community. Yeah. That's where my mindset went as far as, do I have control or say outside of my community? Probably not as much, but there is a lot that we can do together in our community. And really, when you think about it, our community, this is where we can really make a difference. Yeah. We can do things here that will make a huge difference and impact on families, our generations. Yeah. And this is also like, no matter what anybody says, we get a vote for the president, we get a vote for the governor, we get a vote for all these state and federal positions and stuff. You want to make change in government, it starts at this level. You know, 100%. You make the changes here. You start influencing and bringing people that want to hear and are interested in stuff together, and you build that ground up, you know, movement. That's how you get change at the county, at the state, at federal, you know. Ground roots.
Yeah, that's the only way you can build like a real movement that's going to last. Yes. In politics, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a politician by any means. I have zero experience. But...
I'm really not either. That's, you know, I mean, I've kind of went into it. My first exposure here in our community was I wanted to learn what a caucus was. Mm-hmm. I didn't know.
Most people don't.
Yeah. And I didn't. And they just kept announcing that they need you to show up to a caucus. This was, 10 or 12 years ago. They're like, we need you to show up. And I'm like, what in the world is a caucus?
Mm-hmm.
So I showed up at a caucus, and it was a pretty good, if I remember right, it was a governor run. It was the first time that we were going to be, that was my exposure, at a caucus for how you choose. People have to nominate you.
Yeah.
You get nominated, and then people vote on you. You do like a 2-minute speech, and then they vote on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like shocked and like extremely humbled that they chose me to be one of the state delegates. And I was still learning the caucus.
You're like, I just want to see what this was.
So that put me to really starting to look at what is a caucus and what is my role as a delegate.
Yeah.
What should I be doing as a state delegate? Like, what is that? What do I do? And I would visit with people that had been delegates in the past and ask them get their opinion, get their intake. When it came down to is I just, I decided this is what I'm going to do this. So I started going out and like doing what you're supposed to do as a representative.
Yeah.
I just got voted. I had been voted for from people in our community.
Mm-hmm.
They trusted me to share their vote.
Yeah.
At the state
to
level,
represent you.
To represent them.
Yeah.
And so I really took that, like I still do to this day, huge weight on my shoulder as far as I was serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know, what did the people think? So I started asking, I started to get to know some people I didn't even know, but I would ask, who do you want? What, and then I showed up to town halls. So how do you share with somebody about different policies?
Yep.
Different ordinances, things that are going on, legislation that's happening, if you don't even know what's on the board.
Yeah.
You don't know the people that are running in those positions. So I started showing up to town halls, and I'll tell you, it was hard. I didn't have tons of time on my hand, and it was pre-COVID, so it was before you could just listen to a town hall, on the internet.
Right.
I showed up to town halls, and I listened, and I showed up to each one of those members that were running for office. So that when I came back to our community here, I could tell them honestly, this is how they answered the questions. This is what they stood for. Mm-hmm. And this, and I tried to keep my opinion out of it for the reason that I was representative of them. My job was to distribute information, content, and let them make a choice.
Yeah, and then represent them.
And represent them
forward,
when they
right?
say. And I know at one time the other state delegate I was working with, he's amazing. He's like one of my favorite people. But him and I needed to have a conversation because we were at one particular, so this is through the time, this not necessarily the first time, is probably into my second time. I can't remember. But one of the ones that we were running through, there was one particular convention that once we'd ran through and did the visiting and talked to people, he was talking to people, I'm talking to people in the community, in our precinct, because that's who we represented, was our precinct.
Right, yeah.
And visiting with them, we had a solid split.
Dang.
Like, so many were for that one individual, so many for the other. It was a pretty solid split. And we just looked at each other, and that's why, we have two, right? So that you can go and represent the people and hit both demographics, both of them that we're doing it. And that was like one of my aha moments of there's a reason why we're set up like we have, right? So that we can, I can't think of too many times that there is not an opportunity that you can't represent the people that have voted for you.
Yeah.
If you're working with those involved.
I feel like there's a ton of people that just don't understand how the political system works. And it's like they rag on the government and say it needs to be removed and we need to change it, we need to change this and all that and everything else. And I'm like, have you seen how other governments run? Like, yeah, we're not perfect. No country's perfect. But we're set up pretty dang well.
Our forefathers did a pretty good job.
The concepts that they had and the ideas that they put forward And the way that they organized everything was about as good as you can make it work, without being like, well, we're going to have a king and it's going to be the prophet or it's going to be this holy man or, like whatever. Like, yeah, there's circumstances where it could be better to some extent. But like for the situation we live in, the world we live in, it's great. People just need to be involved. That's the biggest thing is like people are not hearing it. They're not paying attention. They're really caring.
Not educated on it. I'm not saying that they're ignorant. It's just we're busy.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's busy. Oh my gosh. I thought it was off.
You're good.
Sorry. So anyway, I thought that was off.
Do you need to take it?
No.
Okay.
I'll just turn it completely off so that nobody can get me.
Okay.
Where else am I going to go with that? I don't even know what I was going to say now.
We were talking about how people just didn't understand how the government functions.
They're busy and they don't really have time to, they're busy focusing like I was that person.
Right.
Like you're focusing on your family. You're focusing on making sure you make enough money. You're focusing on just survival sometimes. Yeah. So what's happening inside the government and decisions that are being made and ordinances and laws that are going out and bills that are being presented, you don't even think to read those.
But to me, that's why it's built the way it is like you have the representative, and you have the people that are you're voting for somebody that's going to represent you and they need to understand how you think and what you want. Yeah. And so there is a little bit of work. Like you have to do a little bit, even as a busy person. But the amount that you actually have to do is very small. You just have to know where to put it, who to talk to.
And that's where what you just hit on perfectly is where I started to find is get to know the people that are running.
Yeah.
Just show up at things that they visit about and talk to. And so that when you vote for somebody, they're representing you and you're able to trust that vote.
Yeah.
That representation.
Yeah, that's the whole idea is you're saying, look, I trust you to say what I want you to say and represent me wholly. And I don't have to be there. Yeah. I don't have to be the one that's like, I don't trust this or I don't believe in that or whatever. And unfortunately, that's not the way it's ran a lot of the times. There's a lot of times where people get in, they have a personal agenda, they have, and that, everyone has some. You have to have a personal agenda of some variety, but is your agenda to better the community? Right. Is that your personal agenda, or is your personal agenda to better something for yourself? So that's where it's like you have to know who you're gonna put into a position of authority.
Know what they stand for.
Yeah.
What just kind of get a feel for that.
Yeah.
I that's one thing I learned. It's eye opening. And it's also great to build relationships, right? So I'm friends. I know our legislator. I know him. We can text each other.
Yeah,
I know our
awesome.
senator.
Yeah.
We can text each other. I know county commissioner. You know the people in your county. Kind of get to know them. And I'm pretty sure our senator would be okay if I share this. I'll just share the importance of kind of knowing relationships, right? And being familiar with some things about if you don't like it, don't just say I don't like this bill. This is why this is going to affect me. And there was a bill that was being presented to vote on at our state level, and it would affect our rural areas in what they could receive in discounts on medication, needed medication.
Yeah.
And it would affect them. And so we were concerned. It was getting questioned. It was a tight run, this particular bill. And so I sent fax to our senator, to Senator Darren Owens. I sent him a text and I sent him some facts. So it wasn't just please vote, don't vote, This is the information. These are the dollar amounts that it has saved just people that that we know of in our community. We need you. We need your support. And you know what? It's amazing what our people will do for us. our legislators and our senator, he voted. I gave him the right stuff.
Yeah.
I gave him what he needed to be able to go in and vote with confidence.
Right.
And so I think if we as the people would do that more often,
Yeah, and even if it's
get to know them.
Yeah, reach out to your representative.
Yes.
Like that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
You can get these relationships with the senators and everything else if you want. That's a time commitment that you have to decide that you're willing to do or not. But at very least, know your representatives because they can communicate whatever message.
And they will.
Yeah.
They will. They are 100%. They're the ones that I've interacted with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's important at the local level, is to make sure that your vote is going where you want it to go. That it's that you can trust that individual is going to stand where they need to stand.
Yep.
And take time to read through ordinances,
Mm-hmm.
make sure they kind of understand the bylaws.
Yeah.
Those type of things have to be done.
Yeah, it's daunting when you first start looking at everything that you're supposed to be involved with and vote on and do and everything. Yeah. But if you just take a step back, it's pretty easy to sum everything up and understand that it's only a small amount of time that you have to spend talking to someone about how you feel, and you'll actually get traction on something rather than just complaining and hoping for a change without saying anything. So you were a state delegate.
Yes. Still am.
I was going to say, I think you were voted in when I was at the caucus last too. So
yeah. Still am.
And so that's like 3 or 4 times now that you have been.
I dropped out. I was on a cruise when they did one round.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't for 2 years of the last 10 or so.
That's what I was saying. There's like a small break, but it's been a fair amount of time now.
Yes.
Okay. And was that your first political position?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? It was. As being a state delegate was my first bite into. Awesome. And how it goes.
And then what else have you done politically?
So I ran that. I've also they voted me as the North Chair. So for the Republican Party. So for a time I was the North Chair. So our precinct and all of us here. And then I went back to just being a state delegate again. And then just recently, they voted me in as the people voted me in as the vice chair for the Republican for Sanpete County Republican Party. Matter of fact, that's where I'll be heading from today. At 5:00, I have to go cover the booth, and we're going to help get voters. We need, we want to teach people how to vote, or how to sign up to vote, and get that information to them. So I'll be manning a booth until 9:30 tonight.
But hey, you're a communications expert, so it's okay, right?
Well, sometimes it's kind of like the one that goes to teach because they don't know how to teach. No, just kidding.
I totally know what you mean.
It's a learning process. It's I'm not a pro by any means. I love people.
Yeah, I don't anticipate anybody to be a pro politician. That is usually a worrisome thing when you get to that point.
I'm not a pro anything. I'm not pro communications. Definitely not pro politician. But it's provided a great opportunity to see at a different level what goes into running this, to the state. Yeah. And into I had an opportunity. That was actually one of another neat moment is when we were doing the November election. I was able to go up and they swore me in to be able to help with the voting, count the votes and do the votes, look at the votes. And so cool. And I can tell you this, our county, Linda Christensen, does it right. Awesome. It is ran like a tight ship. And your vote counts here in our county. 100. I can't speak for anywhere else. I haven't watched them do it, but having been a part of that and having watched how closely things were monitored and making sure that everything stayed secure, I can tell the people in this county with no reservation is their vote counts.
Awesome. That's great. I love hearing things like that.
That's a true statement. 100%. Great.
Well, what are you excited about doing with the city? Like, is there any kind of like, I mean, you hear about like policy and stuff. Like, I don't know if there's really policy at the city level, but like, what are
Well,
you wanting to achieve, I
there is
guess?
actually, there's ordinances,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that
For sure.
definitely. But I think for the city level where I'm at now is I really want to listen to the people. I plan on going out canvassing, talking to people, listening,
Mm-hmm.
what's concerns, what do they like, what are they happy with that's going on.
Yeah.
I really believe that we need to look at the growth that's going to happen in our city.
Yeah.
It's not a if, it's when, it's coming,
Yeah.
it's here.
Yeah. I
right?
agree.
So it's really important that we are looking at ordinances and putting things in place that allow for a sustainable growth.
Yeah. When Manti got a temple, whether you're LDS or not,
Yeah.
when Manti got a temple, I'm like, well, that's the nail in the coffin. Fairview's growing. You know,
Yeah.
there's no way around it.
When Ephraim got the temple?
Yeah, yeah. You know,
yeah.
like to that close, we're done.
Yeah.
There's gonna be stoplights soon. You know.
You know, so you just, you know, best of friends have best of fences. You know, we just need to make sure that that's one of the thoughts in my mind is to really look and listen and see if we can't make sure that we are looking at ordinances that can keep us
Yeah.
you know.
Then I worry
keep
about
us with
like
sustainable
infrastructure and things, you know,
Yeah.
because you can drive around Utah with a massive amount of growth, and you can see places where they thought about infrastructure. You can see places where they didn't.
Yep.
You know, and it'd be tragic if we got caught in that position where we grew too big for our britches.
Yep.
You know,
I agree.
and so it's fortuitous of us to think ahead and try and make these decisions. Like, it's hard to say, like, how do you make that future? How do you future proof the city?
Yeah.
But there's definitely things that we can do, and we need to look into that and stuff. So
I totally agree with that.
yeah.
Yes.
And I've got friends in the city now, just as employees, you know,
Yeah.
like that work in the water or electrical and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And to hear what they talk about, I'm like, man, there's like we're making steps for sure, but there's a lot of ground to be covered on how we're going to grow efficiently and,
Yes.
you know, what Fairview needs.
Yes.
So-
And I would like to see us, and I don't know if it's still on the table or an option or not, but I would love to see ball fields going here again. You know, like the
Sure, yeah.
idea, the concept of something like that, something, you know, that everybody can enjoy. I know my husband, he's always wanted to see like a big fun, like, rec center, you know, like,
Right. Yeah.
he's always thought that would
Yeah.
be super cool. But I'm the more like, I have a hard time like dreaming, I guess is the word. I'm just I look right here and now.
Right. Yeah.
And I just say, this is where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
How can we make the future better? Like, how can we put things in place that we can do different things, that we can actually do them? Right?
Yeah.
That we
yeah.
can
And maintain them.
and maintain them and
Yeah.
be able to enjoy it
Yep.
and keep it. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm kind of more instead of the big dream, which I do believe. I mean, who would have ever thought that Fairview City is going to be where it's at right now?
Yeah.
You know, who would have ever thought that property values would be where they are? And, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's a magical town. It's going to have really cool things. You know, it's just us keeping it where we can make it sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually being able to manage the growth appropriately,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, you look at we don't have the issues of like Eagle Mountain where it's like one road in, one road out. You know, luckily we're a little easier than that, but you know, there's totally so many places where you can point a finger and say that wasn't thought out.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but I just don't know how you point the finger and say this is what we need to think out.
Yeah.
You know, because everything's so different, but at the same time, growth is growth. You know.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what like how Fairview City tries to develop into that future self, you know. But where do you see Fairview in like 5 years?
Hopefully not too much more than we are right now. Hopefully we're still somewhat, you know.
Well, isn't there a subdivision that was just approved north of town?
I haven't went through and looked at all the things. There is that one. It's going up Day Road. Is that the one you're talking about?
Is that the one that's like 40 homes?
I don't know the exact homes. I just know that's
Pretty good sized.
yeah.
Okay, I bet
And
that's
there's
the
a
one
couple
I'm
homes
thinking
that are
of.
already up there. Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm not sure 100%.
Where they're already putting some homes in
Yeah,
there
it could be.
in the county.
Yeah, but I mean things like that, like, you know, there's how many developments are going in. Like there's one south of Ephraim, there's one north of Manti, there's one in Chester. I guess I just found out that they've approved like a 40 house thing in Chester. Like,
Yeah.
you know, those are the kinds of things where it's like people are going to learn and they're going to grow and they're going to develop and they're going to do things. And that's citizens' rights. And we should be doing those things. We should be able to build when we want to build and stuff. But you've got to make sure that we have water, we have power, there's roads, there's, you know, everything that we
it's
need.
sustainable, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we're not getting ahead of ourselves.
Yep.
That we're kind of, you know, control's not really the word. You're not getting control, but if you put the right ordinances into place prior to
It's like
the
guardrails.
developers, yeah.
You know,
Best
it's
defense
not-
is best of
yeah.
friends, right? It's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's just kind of keeping it where you come in and
Yeah.
you know, a builder comes in or a developer comes in, they already, those ordinances are in place.
Yeah.
Those guardrails are there.
Yeah.
You know, compared to coming in and we don't have those
Mm-hmm.
guardrails in place.
Yeah. And then people are allowed to just kind
And
of
then things kind of,
develop. You
so
know,
we just need to be on top of that.
Yeah. Great. What do you feel like is the job of a city council member?
You know, that's really interesting. I actually, I'm going to read this. I actually went through and I was just looking, you know, different things. Like, what does Mr. AI Google tell us
Sure. Yeah.
about a job council? So I'm just going to read like a couple of highlights and then I'll tell you exactly my
Yeah.
feelings,
Great.
my feelings of it. He says, according to AI, is responsible for governing and managing city government by creating and setting policies, adopting city budgets, establish tax rates, and approve city contracts and appointments. You know, in addition to that, engage with constituents, address concerns, advocate for the community needs, and participate in local events and meetings. So just, you know, in my mind, I looked that up before. And so what that all plays out to me is just in my thoughts, city council is, I have been trusted. If I receive their vote and I am running and I'm in the city council seat,
Mm-hmm.
the members of the community have trusted me with making right decisions and making choices that will benefit them. You're not going to make everybody happy all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I think that you can at least come to a compromise. You know, there's things that we need to do as a city council person. We should be looking out for our community, not ourselves. I mean, we
Right.
live here, but you have been voted in with the trust of the community to look out for them, like to actually listen to them, to like what it said here, you know,
Yeah.
make sure you're reading the stuff that comes through when stuff is submitted to you on different, whether it's from a developer or whatever, read it. Do you understand it? If you don't understand it, find someone who can explain it to you. Make sure you understand what's being brought to the table. So make sure you know where the budget is. Make sure you know how to read a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Understand where the money's going and be able to speak to that. And so those are things that the community has voted and has put their trust in you to do that right.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're doing things correctly that way. And so I really want to listen to the city. And I don't think, you know, we should ever be in a situation that that we're having any harm intentionally caused to someone in the community, that we just sit back and make sure we understand what's on
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
What is this developer asking for?
Mm-hmm.
What is it going to look like if he does this or that or she,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
And how does that play into
And how
like
does that
maybe this
play
other
into
project
this?
or
Yes.
something, you know,
Yes.
like what all the moving pieces.
How is this going to affect, you know?
Yep.
Do we need to maybe look at stretching our arm out a little bit on each level, you know, do we need to bring in annexations? Are they sustainable if we do an annex? You know,
Yeah.
those type of things are things that And it's a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm not for any way saying that I would be like perfect at it. It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But when you ask what is it that we should do, that in my mind, I would think that we would want to do that to the very best of our ability. Like ask questions, make sure we're listening to the community, and that we're working through things that will in the end result be best for our community.
Yeah. And that's all I
So-
can hope for. Because I don't have the time to go read everything and go through everything and then tell the people what I think.
Yeah.
You know, like it's got to be that I vote in somebody that I can trust and that will spend the time.
And communication's huge,
Mhm.
right?
Very huge.
We can send out like communication is a really big deal. And so a lot of times the misunderstandings that happen and the issues that take place just came from a lack of communication, from
Yeah.
disseminating out information probably the way that it could have been, in a
Yeah.
little better way.
Yeah.
So
Shar works at a small developer shop up in Orem, and it like the idea of the company is to build employees, not because they don't want them to stay. It's not like it's like a school and then or experience, and then you can get a job doing everything everywhere else. So it's like a trade to some extent, like not a trade in like a physical labor, but trade in like you're not getting a school education, but you're going to this and then getting experience and moving, journeyman kind of thing. I think they actually have
interesting.
that.
That is super interesting.
Yeah, I never heard of that with a software or any kind of like
Yeah.
tech anything, but that's kind of the process they're going on. But anyway, so they talk about developing people and developing business and developing things throughout the day and throughout the week and stuff. They'll have meetings on it. And one thing that was really interesting that they brought up was they had a pyramid of like all the things that were important that customers feel like are important about a business. And it wasn't at the top of the pyramid, but the most important thing that they found was communication. Like that's everyone just wants to know what's going on.
Yep.
And even though the government isn't a business per se, I mean, it is. It's the biggest
it really
business
is.
in
It's
the
the
world.
largest business
Yeah.
out there.
But it's, if not even more important, that it's got communication, because it's the one business that affects your daily life, And so I completely agree. Like communication is far and away the most important. And it's crazy how many times I've been to a lot of city council meetings in the last 10 years, and I've heard a lot of topics brought up, and it's amazing how many of them could have been resolved simply with communication.
Yeah.
So I completely agree. Like, that's a huge one for me.
Something that maybe we can all do better.
Yeah.
Get that communication out.
Right? That'd be nice. But I don't know. I mean, the city, they do, it's hard because they check the boxes. They do put out their agendas and they record their meetings and stuff. They're doing everything they're supposed to do. But it's like you were saying, like, if you're voted into a position, there's like the box of things that has to be done, but then there's also the things that are like inferred tasks.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're busy. They're busy too. I get it. Like, I'm not saying that they're wrong or right or anything. It's just when you're going to take this position, realize that what is going to take place is time.
Yeah.
You're going to have time that you have to spend.
Yeah. And it's hard, right? I mean, all of us have full-time, most of us, full-time jobs, or, you have your life, you have your family, you have so much on the table. And I really, we have some good people. We do. We have some good people that represent us and try to do a lot of good for us.
Yeah.
I think they do, I know they do so much that the community doesn't even really get to see. They don't really understand.
That's probably the biggest thing I've learned going to city council meetings is like the amount that they have to do.
Yeah.
It's not a little amount, and they're not paid. No. At least if it is, it's very
just
minimal.
Like a penance, I'm sure, whatever it is.
It's almost like an insult more than it is a payment. Like, well, you're worth a penny
I haven't
today.
asked, but I can't imagine it's much. I know what I got paid on planning and zoning. It's not.
Yeah. So you get an idea, but so I'm not faulting anybody at all by any stretch of the imagination, but it is something that I feel like has been brought up many times that could have been better in a situation, is just communication of like what the city's intentions are, what the city council wants to accomplish with it, because a lot of time people just see like the stop signs go away.
Right.
And they're like, well, why did that happen? Well, there was reasons. It was a highway. We were breaking rules about where we can regulate traffic and stuff like it. You know, should the stop signs be there? It's in town. It's a busy road. It probably helps to keep people safe, but ultimately there's laws that dictate when and where you can have stop signs.
Right.
You know, and so that's just a small thing that I can think of off the top of my head where I know I've heard people talk about it and I know it's been brought up many times, and whether you agree or disagree,
Right.
you have to understand the stuff that the city council members are viewing when they're making these decisions. It's not just, well, I don't think there should be a stop sign, you know. There's usually a lot more to it.
There's a lot. There's always more to the story
Yeah.
than what we see, right?
Yeah.
So that's if there's some way that, and it's an ongoing challenge, right, to get information out, communication out.
Yeah.
It's always an ongoing challenge because it's like, well, where do they go for their source of information? Well, it depends on your demographics, right?
Right.
Your older demographics, most of them are not on social media. You know, they'll read the letter that you send in the mail. You know, then your other ages, sometimes they don't even look at the mail. You know, like it hits the garbage. You know, for the most part. So they'll go to social media, and that's where they'll look to get information. So it's probably just looking at different ways and different avenues and the best ways to get more communication out, so that I think a lot of the upset and concern and stuff that starts to happen is when someone feels blindsided or people feel like, oh, yeah, the city didn't tell us that.
Yeah.
When in actuality, if they would have showed up to city council, it was discussed, like you said.
Many times, yeah.
Right.
And
it's been there.
And even if you didn't show up, there's recordings of it. You could go back and listen to.
Well,
it.
and there's actually, it's on document. You can go in and you can go in and just read the highlights, of what's been going on, what was discussed at that city council.
But if you want to not have to watch everything, vote in the person that thinks the way you think. Like that's the whole thing to me anyway, like I just want someone I can trust. So.
Well, I hope I earn your trust. How's that? Because trust isn't just given, right?
Right, yeah.
Trust is something that you earn.
Yep.
And it's not just handed out. It's not something you just get to have.
Exactly.
So I hope I earn your trust, and those of the community, that as we go forward, like I said, I will be knocking on doors and visiting and letting people ask me questions, and I'm going to try to grab some of my voter stuff and bring it and let people, give it to them so that if they're not registered to vote, they can have something handy for them to register.
And to think about.
And to think about if that's what they want, and some don't want to vote, and that's okay, but for me, voting is like probably one of our most important privileges that we have here. Yeah. In our country and in our state and in our area is the opportunity to vote. It is your chance to share your voice.
Yep, 100%.
And to weigh in. So I just want to encourage everyone to vote. I don't vote how you want, but and where you want, of course, but vote. Go out and vote. It's super easy now. You can mail in a ballot, but go vote.
Yeah, when people are like, "Oh, I'm not voting because I don't want either party," it's like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like you're really like letting yourself not be heard. Like you're intentionally saying, I don't want to speak or be heard on what I think.
That's your voice.
Yeah.
That's your chance to weigh in. And at our level, like at our county and our cities, it's huge.
Yeah. The city level, I mean, it's everything.
It's your opportunity to really honestly have a chance to do something and say something.
Yeah.
So
it really is. How surprised were you when there was 10 people running for city council?
I was surprised, actually. I was really surprised.
Were you worried that you weren't going to get past the primary?
Because there's some great people on that ballot.
I know.
Way good people. I was like, whew.
When I saw the results, I'm like, that's the results? Dang, dude. Like it's surprising.
There was great people on that ballot.
Yeah.
Really good ones. And I just, and there still are, right? So
totally.
it's just, I did it. That's what I said earlier is I'm just grateful for the people in this community that gave me their vote.
Yeah.
That trusted me.
Yep.
No.
And now you have time to win over the rest of them. right? Yeah.
We got a lot. We got some work to do. I think no, it's not just one over. I got some work. We got some serious door knocking to do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work, and it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And it was hard. So a big shout out to all those that put their name on the ballot in the first place. You
Yeah.
know, that's a. It's not an for me. That's not a like a, oh, I think I'll just do this. You know.
Yeah. Some people look at
It's-
it like that, but it's not. Like it really
you
should be
know,
like a.
And it's
Do I
like,
really
well, you're
want to
really
do
putting
this?
yourself out there,
Yep.
yeah. And you're.
And I feel kind of bad because it's like we had the 24th, which everyone was busy, and so you didn't really get a lot of time to like campaign.
Yeah. No.
You know, and it was the end of the summer. It was the beginning of school. It was so many things were culminating at the same time. Where I'm like, man, I really wanted to have more people on in the beginning from the primaries, you know, so that people could see what everyone was thinking with all
And
of
that
it.
was one of the comments a lot,
But,
right? Is people are like,
yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know who these.
Right.
I don't know who they are. I don't know what do they stand for. What would they vote for? You know, like there was a lot of those questions,
Yeah.
and there was just I read them a couple times. I was like, man, I need to get out, but there was just.
It's such a busy
I'm
time.
on the 24th of July committee. I don't know if you
Yeah.
call that a political. That wasn't. I hope that's not a political, but I've been on that for a long time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that one's been over 20 plus years for Fairview City. But you just have a lot going on. And like you said,
Yep.
it was just unbelievable. Parades,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I said
Oh
that
my
with
gosh,
every
so
good
much
intention.
stuff.
And I talked to a few people, and I'm like, there's just not time. I'm not going to get people on there yet. So,
I would have had to say, no, I can't.
Right.
Because as much as you want to, you know, and I thought to myself, oh man, what is the best way I can do to get, you know, let people meet me and visit? But I couldn't.
yeah.
I guess there was time, right? There's always time, but sometimes it was on the one day or night that I just needed some brain time. Like I just needed my
Yeah.
brain to,
Yeah.
you know. So there probably was a night or two I could have went out, but instead I went walking.
Hey, that's going out.
I went and walked up to the cemetery and back because I was just like, oh, my brain it needs to
Yeah.
rest. So
So how can people find you if they want to ask you a question? I don't want to give out phone numbers, but do you have like a social media account or anything that you're going to be
yes, so
putting everything towards, or?
you know, I haven't set that all up.
Okay.
They can go to they can instant private message me anytime on
Okay.
social media. So if they just go to my I think I'm Shauna Watts
Okay.
is what my social media is. And then I will be getting, and I'm on, so my information is on Fairview City as far as not like my
Right.
cell phone number,
Yeah.
but my information. But if they'll private message me, I'll cell phone them. I mean, I'll give them my cell phone number
Yeah.
and I can go over there in person. They can
Sure.
meet up
Okay.
somewhere. I'm not worried about it. And then I'll be putting together a little brochure that just kind of has a little bit of information about.
Sweet. Yeah.
Things that
If
I'm
you need
passionate
anything like spreading out information, just let me know.
Okay.
I can
Thank
attach
you.
it to the video, and I can, whatever you need. But
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably should put something together on a website or something. I just haven't gotten to that point of thinking.
Dude, I mean, it's coming like a freight train though. Like,
No, I'm like, it's almost September.
yeah, I can't believe that. I almost have a 17-year-old.
Oh, jeez. Now that's coming. Like that's you get on 17, and that's really starting to move along.
I know. I'm getting old.
It's becoming the next stage of life. It's all great though. It's so fun. It's fun. I loved having teenagers. It was just fun. We were so busy. We didn't, just with football and wrestling and Caitlin's soccer and, but now I would think I would be exhausted if I had to do it again. Now it's just
Yeah.
staying up on the grandkids, like try to hit at least one or two grandkids games.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's a
gotta be
different
rough.
part of life.
Yep. Yeah. It's
Your
not easy
side
just
is
to
busy.
catch them.
Yeah. Your side right now is a reason why we do this while we're young.
Yeah. Having kids is a young person's game.
Staying on top of it all.
Yep. Yeah. I applaud any parent with 2 kids.
Oh yeah.
One
It's-
kid is enough too. Like that's still a lot, but
it's
if you've
just-
got 2, like you are so busy.
Yes.
So
You start running from there. But thank you. Did
Yeah.
you have any other questions you wanted me to cover?
I
Or
don't
we?
think so. I could check my list. I suppose I didn't.
I don't
remember
think
what all
I-
wrote down. I think we covered pretty much everything I had. Is there anything else you wanted to send out to the world? I don't have the list on here, so
No,
I think we're all
just
right.
yeah. Just America's great. We have our challenges, but Fairview City,
Yeah, it's where it's at.
it's where it's at. It's a secret sometimes we want to keep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when I first started working for the National Guard at the headquarters in Draper, I had a ton of coworkers that are like, well, why don't you move up here? You drive so far, it's not worth it. Like, just move up here. And I'm like, have you ever been to Fairview? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I'm not going to say that. You don't have to come down there. Don't take a look at it. Don't look it up on the map.
Yeah.
But if you ever do, you'll understand it. And it took like 3 years. And then after about 3 years, they're like, hey, is there property for sale in Fairview? Like, how hard is it to move down there and stuff? And I'm like, oh,
You know, I hear it over and over. And it was my story too. Like, why did you come to Fairview? Well, I don't know. It just felt like it's what we should do. You know, like, but you look around at the absolute coolness that we have around us and the people.
Yeah.
Like, it's good.
Yep.
And we just need to keep working towards that. Like, just keep that.
Trying to keep it as a community.
Yes. You know,
even with the growth, we can stay a community.
You can still stay a community. Yep. We can do growth and still stay a community. I sometimes remind myself, hey, Shauna, remember, you were one time the person trying to move into this town. You know?
Yeah.
My ancestors were not, they didn't file, you know, they weren't founders of Fairview. Yeah. So at one time, I was that person trying to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been here less time than you, but I'll accept you as a person from Fairview. So.
It happens. It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been a good ride.
Good. Well, thanks for your time today.
Oh, well, thank you.
And, no problem.
Thank you for having me.
It was great.